What's going on, everyone? It's Adam here from No Shelf Space, and today we're talking about Disney Lorcana launch week. Now, this is a bit of a rambling video, just some thoughts I had while looking up stuff this week. But this Friday, the game's going to hit your favorite local game store, and how much product your store is going to get, it doesn't seem like anybody knows. And whose fault that is, I'm not sure. But it doesn't sound like there's going to be enough product on Friday to meet demand. And of course, that has really brought out this whole fear of missing out syndrome. A lot of people are having major FOMO over this, and others are taking huge advantage of that online. And we're going to talk about it right now. Okay, so what is Disney Lorcana? If you don't know, Disney Lorcana is a trading card game with Disney characters, and here's just an example of a card right there. And essentially you're just going to be playing characters to the table, and you're going to be trying to earn 20 lore, and the first person to earn 20 lore is the winner. Now the game balances challenging characters, which is, fighting, Disney's version of fighting, challenging characters and scoring lore and playing cards, actions, things like that. I had a chance to play it at Gen Con, and it's way better than what some of the pre-Gen Con videos made it out to be. It wasn't looking that interesting to me until I actually sat down. I got my deck, and this one was provided to me by Ravensburger, but I got my deck out, here it is. I put it down on the table, and I played the game, and it was a blast. I was able to play 2 games during my demo because they were so quick, and I really, really enjoyed it. But if Gen Con taught us anything, it's that people are going to take advantage of Disney Lorcana FOMO. There are booster boxes on eBay for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars over MSRP. There are starter decks, starter boxes. There's everything. Anything you could have got on Gen Con, at Gen Con, is on eBay right now for astronomical prices. And unfortunately, some of these things are selling. Now, after the first day, people were putting this promo card, and it is the Gen Con promo card. This was also given to me by Ravensburger. People were putting this promo card up on eBay for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. That seemed to have flattened a little bit, but I think this is still around $75 to buy this on eBay, which to me is still kind of crazy. And then you've got some of these other cards. I just have my rare cards that I pulled out of my 2 starter decks, or my 2 booster decks right here. Some of my rares. I think I have a super rare in here maybe. Yeah, I've got some super rares in here. Anyway, there's a lot of cool cards. And I think some of the coverage that came out of Gen Con got people really excited about the game. But there's a lot of people who took advantage. What's disappointed me the most is going online this week and seeing what some retailers are charging for Disney Lorcana product. And this is what's blowing my mind. So I put a post up on Reddit, actually, and I'll link that post down below, but I put a post up on Reddit about a local game store, maybe 2 hours away from me, that's selling a booster box. I won't blast them here on YouTube, but I did blast them over on Reddit. They're selling a booster box for $325 Canadian. Now, if you do all the math, a booster box of cards. I don't know if Ravensburger has come out with Canadian pricing for a booster box. I think at Gen Con they're $143.99. That was the US pricing. If you took a pack of cards at MSRP, multiplied it by 24 in Canada, the price of a booster box should be about $191. This store was selling it for $325. That is $135 over what I imagine would be the MSRP for that product, and that blew my mind. I talked about it in a previous video. 401 Games, one of Canada's largest, if not the largest board game retailer in the country, was selling a booster box for over $60. There seemed to be some debate on eBay whether $60 over MSRP was a lot. Understandably, local game stores are going to charge a little bit more money for various products. At my local game store, I can guarantee you every single board game I buy there, after tax, is going to be $5 or $10 more than if I bought it from someone like 401 Games or Board Game Bliss in Canada or Board Game Bandit. Not sponsored by any of those companies, by the way. So it's going to be $10 or $5, $10, $15 sometimes more than buying it at those stores, and it's because it's a local game store. They're not moving the same kind of inventory. And so they need to charge just a little bit more because they need that little slightly higher profit margin on a specific product. Now, my local game store in where I live has not released any pricing yet, but the one in the town over has. And I pre-ordered between my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, and myself, we pre-ordered 4 booster boxes, and they charged us $204.99. Now, whether or not I'm going to get that product on Friday, that remains to be seen. It's possible I won't. I don't know. And it doesn't seem like anybody really knows what product's going to land in a local game store on Friday, but I'm hoping they will. Anyway, we pre-ordered 4 booster boxes and we paid $204.99. So in Canada, that would come out to being about $14 to $15 over MSRP, which in my opinion, that's fine. A lot of folks on Reddit were saying, hey, $60 over MSRP, I'm okay with that too. And while I blasted them, and I think that a company like 401 Games, which is a big retailer, shouldn't be selling $60 over MSRP, they are. But then some of the numbers, and people were posting, and I think the title of my post on Reddit was like, how scummy is your FLGS? Someone said there's a store in Toronto at $500 for a booster box, which would be $310 more than MSRP. Someone else said that their local game store was charging eBay prices until September 1st. And as you know, September 1st, product is going to land at Walmart, at GameStop, at Chapters, or whoever else is going to be getting it. At the big retailers that are not considered board game or local board game stores like 401 and all these smaller ones are, they'll be getting it on September 1st. And so some game stores have said, hey, we're going to charge eBay prices for our products until September 1st, when the market should get flooded with product at major retailers. Some people thought that was okay. I still think that's... Your local game store is supposed to be your trusted source for board games, card games, and everything else. Like, how do you feel going in and just getting screwed, majorly screwed, on a trading card game that maybe your 10-year-old Mickey-loving kid really wants to get their hands on? Like, it disgusts me. It honestly disgusts me, some of the pricing coming out. I could go on for a long time. I'm really angry about pricing. So some people are charging exorbitant amounts of money. Someone said a starter deck. And remember, starter deck is your 60 cards in one of the colored decks, plus a booster pack. $50 Canadian. $50 Canadian. I pre-ordered a starter deck from GameStop Canada for $21.99. I'm have to wait till September 1st, but $21.99. I could get 2 starter decks with a booster pack in each for less than 1 starter deck at this retailer. Like, it is gross. It is becoming so gross. One of the other arguments I saw is someone said, well, I talked to my game store about it, and they said, well, if we put our prices low, other game stores will pre-order all our stock, and then they'll resell it at higher prices at their own store. I mean, maybe. I feel like that's not like that common of a thing, especially when it's so hard to get pre-orders. And like my local game store didn't even announce pre-orders. They just kind of popped it up, or not mine, but the one in the town over. They just kind of popped it up, and I happened to be online and I got some stuff pre-ordered. And they didn't have some stuff. I think they just had starter decks, booster boxes, and packs. I think that was it. They didn't have sleeves up for pre-order. They didn't have deck boxes. They had the trove. They had the gift set, but they didn't have mats or anything like that. I'm going to go there Friday, and I'm hoping they're going to have some mats. I'm going to hope they have some deck boxes and sleeves and stuff like that, and I'm going to hope they have my booster box. And I paid $15 over MSRP, and for a Lumineers Trove, I think I call it a Treasure Trove, but for an Lumineers Trove, I paid $10 more than MSRP for those. You know what? It really is what it is. I'm frustrated by it. I think that Ravensburger and Disney probably wish there was more stock of this available. I think Gen Con was just a disaster. Even though they fixed it after day one, they fixed it with the lines and everything. Just the grossness. Like, people were in line creating their eBay listings for the product. And I know some people are going to come at me and say, don't like it, don't invest in it, or don't do it. I don't care about me. I honestly, if my local game store doesn't get it on the 18th, and even if GameStop doesn't get it on the 1st, because I've got stuff pre-ordered at GameStop Canada, if they don't get it on the 1st, you know what? I can wait. I'm fine. But I saw, like, what hurt me the most, and I told this to, I have an interview with Ryan Miller, and I told Ryan Miller this story. I was at Gen Con, and there was a dad there with his kid, and they were looking at the line, and they could have got in. They probably maybe could have got product, but they were looking at this really long line. And I heard the dad saying to the kid, you know, like, we're not waiting in this long line to buy this game. We'll wait till it comes out. And you know, as kids are, he was visibly upset. I want to say he was probably 8 to 10 years old. And the kid was visibly upset. He was sad. He was crying because he really wanted some product. And what didn't bother me was the fact that they didn't want to wait. Like, that's up to them. They could have waited and they could have got it. It would have been 3 hours, probably 3 or 4 hours. And maybe even then they wouldn't have got what they wanted, because it didn't seem like a situation where they would buy a booster box. They'd just be looking for a couple packs, maybe a starter deck. But what made me sad is that, like, this guy can't even go online and, find someone who got extra and buy it for a reasonable price for his kid. And that's what made me, like, kind of disheartened a bit. Like, this Mickey loving, Disney loving kid who just wants a couple packs can't get them at Gen Con, even though he went, because the lines are insane, full of people reselling it on eBay. Likely he's not going to get it from his local game store because of stocking issues, if they haven't pre-ordered yet. And even the September 1st launch, I think, is going to just go instantly, and you're still going to have to wait. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, flood it with comments. Let me know. Am I off base here, feeling like this is just kind of gross on local game stores? People are people. The people that bought at Gen Con selling on eBay, they're going to do that, and people are going to do that for the rest of the time. But, like, your local game store charging you in that Toronto store $310 over retail? I mean, those stores are going to crash and burn because there's no faith left in them. I don't know. Just one man's opinion.